Hello, friends. Welcome to another installment of Rich Friend, the Elevated Conversation, brought to you by Tequila Avioli. My name is Matthew Trammell. Mark Anthony Green is here, present, accounted for.
Kind of. Ladies and gentlemen at home, I have a crazy call. I didn't even put my headphones on. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we gotta hold them down this week.
Yo, man, I need one of those
we
Jamaican home remedies you got.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Don't y'all like pee on hot bricks and shit like that?
Oh, no, not.
Isn't that a thing y'all do?
Hell no.
Don't y'all take an oxtail and...
Today we're drinking some Long Weekends, so Avion Silver and Star Ruby Grapefruit Soda and a little splash of dry ginger ale. So you can make one of those. There's no pee involved. And cheers to that. This soda says grown up soda on it, which is pretty funny. I've never seen this before. Not too sweet.
I don't like that soda.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's really good. This cocktail is awesome.
Nah, man. Shout out to Sprite. I feel like if my cold were a podcast, it'd be brought to you by All-Star Weekend.
Man,
New Orleans, it rained.
Right.
It was a monsoon the first day.
Yeah.
And we walked everywhere.
Fuck.
And then, I had to have the taco meat out.
Is that like a walking... That was the easiest way to get around?
Yeah,
and do shit? Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed in the French Quarter. That's the good thing about it.
So there were a lot of like...
And the fried alligator. That shit is scrumptious.
Alligator wings.
Nah, dog. Ain't no alligator wings.
I've seen... That's what I saw it referred to as. Fried alligator and sauce. I saw like alligator wings. That's what I've heard of. No?
They're not wings.
I know they're not like buffalo wings aren't wings, but...
You know that buffalo wings are not buffalo. They're chicken.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I know that's just the name for the meal, but I assumed that it was just fried alligator that they just called wings.
Why would they call it wings if they?
I didn't go to New Orleans. I don't know. I'm just saying. I didn't make it up.
This is that Brooklyn shit. Tremendous.
I didn't make
this. Is that?
How was it? Was it amazing? Was it delicious?
I can't do this. You're gonna make me sicker.
I'm sorry.
This is the opposite of vitamin C. Trammell.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I saw that
alligator
and I was like,
wings. What?
I'm serious. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like I would eat alligator, like without question.
Yeah, but it's not alligator wings. It's more like alligator tenders.
I'm gonna hunt down whatever restaurant referred to them as alligator wings and commit healthy arson.
Yeah, you're wild.
In your name.
Yeah, do that.
They'll never.
Do that.
They'll never commit such an affront to chicken's good name again. Only one animal can have wings served in association with them. I
was reading this ESPN article on my way over here, and I realized that we don't talk about sports enough on this podcast, and this is completely your fault.
I am handicapped in this field. Over the weekend of the All-Stars, the weekend that was in celebration of them. I discovered that
Trammell's like, did Clyde Drexler play?
Yeah. I discovered that I fuck with Isaiah Thomas. I was like, yo, I fuck with him. He's like mad tiny.
Yeah, little homie.
Yeah, like, so I was just like, okay, word.
He's
like,
dope.
Yeah, and he plays for the Celtics, which is like a funny team. So I was like, all right, word.
Shout out to Boogie Cousins getting traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. That's what everyone's freaking out. That's what the article was about.
Okay. Why is that? So for laymen out there, because I'm not the only one.
You might be the only one.
No, we have listeners that aren't NBA fanatics. So what's the deal? Why is that?
New Orleans has a team called the Pelicans.
It wasn't always called the Pelicans.
It was not.
That's recent.
That is recent. They have a really good big man, Anthony Davis. He's the guy with the unibrow.
He was going crazy in the game.
Yeah, he can play.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are probably the two best big men in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, DeMarcus Cousins, who played on a really bad team,
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento Kings, got traded, so now they're on the same team. They also play college ball together, so it's dope. And they might have the best front court. Front court is the big men. Back court are your guards, right?
Right.
They have one of the best front courts, if not the best front court in NBA history now. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Is DeMarcus Cousins the one that's supposed to get like $207 million?
Well, they would have had to pay him the super max.
Yeah.
So,
but did that happen?
It's his contract. He's got another year, and then he negotiates. So they traded him.
And
then in a year, he'll negotiate his contract, or like at the end of the season or something like that.
Oh, okay, right, because it's the middle, because the season's not over.
No, it's
but
the
they just
middle of the
announced
season.
this.
Yeah, All-Star Weekend is right in the middle of the season.
Got you. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's pretty fucking wild.
Did you listen to Future's album?
I heard a couple of songs on it.
It's really good.
I also heard that he got super jammed up, man, between the Rocco stuff and the Sierra stuff. He's like, he had to give up royalties off his like next 2 albums, and like a cut of touring and a cut of everything, and like, so support Future if you really fuck with him right now, because he's like in a I don't know how crazy it is. I'm not, but it's like that happened, and it's just a shame to see that with like him and Rocco, because like that's like his man's,
Right.
But yeah, albums, yeah. From what I heard, the songs on it are dope.
Nice,
like people were playing it. Yeah.
He smashed it. I feel like with Future though, and I'm gonna just call it now, he'll release 3 albums before like March. You know what I'm saying? Like before the end of March, like he'll just bang these out. Like he's back.
Yeah,
I'm not really worried about like
he had a commercial. Just seeing him like talk like on television between like a fucking like between like a fucking like H&R Block commercial and like a fucking like unlimited data Verizon commercial, like hearing Future just be like, I released 17 albums. I had to work for this. Like, it was just like, wow.
Hendrix?
Wow. Like it's so, I was not prepared to see him cross over into that threshold in prime time in that way.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, it sounded cool. It sounded really good. He had like, the standard Future drums, which like, at this
the
point,
production's amazing.
Yeah.
He's on another level, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's easy to be that guy when it's like, when people are figuring out who you are, but then after everyone knows who you are, then you have to like come up with a whole new way to be provocative all over again.
Right.
Which is like it's like kind of interesting with him, is that he wasn't like what is like everything that was supposed to happen with Honest is like happened now, when he's at his most just like dirty mixtape, like not commercial sounding stuff. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, it's exciting. It's crazy. It's crazy for him. Apparently Brandy absolutely destroyed, like melted this R&B festival that was in LA, Soul Aquarius.
Brandy? Oh yeah. Yo, I really wanted to go. Yeah.
And people were like, oh my God, Brandy. And like, she had like 2 backup dancers and like had a whole, I assume they had like 30 artists up. So she couldn't have more than like 20 minutes, half an hour, and just like stole the show. And I'm like, hell yeah, like Brandy.
No, I'm over it.
How could she not in 2017 like have an amazing set?
Yeah, like The Boy Is Mine alone.
Right, those songs. I mean, Sitting on Top of the World with Mace, like that, like that video where her and Mace are doing the routines together. I'm like, oh my God, like come on, we need that.
They said my man R. Kells crushed it, and DMX crushed it.
Somehow DMX is R&B, like that's I believe that fully. Yes,
yeah, no, it's so good.
Yeah, like him being somehow he's definitely R&B. Like,
yo,
there's the spiritual aspect to it, where you're just like, the feeling is what counts.
Did you see this Hurt Bay thing? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You saw the video? Did you watch
a guy break up?
Yeah.
Whoever made that is really, really smart. If you didn't catch it, it's like a girl and a guy just break up.
Wow, I hated it.
Camera.
Oh, this is great. I thought it was the worst thing ever made.
It's the purest distillation of reality TV yet. You just put the camera there and let 2 people break up in front of the camera, and then everyone just loses their fucking minds. It was foolproof idea. Shout out to The Scene, who I think made that. It's like genius, and they found perfect people to do it. I've zero idea. I have no idea. This is my first time ever seeing it, was through that, which again is a part of the genius of it, because now like how many people found out about that shit through this brilliant piece of content that they produced.
It annoyed the fuck out of me.
Because you've had that talk, you were like, damn, why?
I have never had that talk. I've never cheated. Nah, man, Trammell's not gonna get me caught up. I have never cheated. I thought it was just silly though. Like, I don't know. I just didn't think it was a good piece of content.
Like it was, I don't know, what silly how? Like what?
I just think it was kind of buffoonish. Like the dude and the girl. Like, you know, he's just kind of sitting there looking dopey, and she kind of looks dopey.
I mean,
I don't know. The whole thing.
It's hard. It's hard to look cool when you're feeling them things, man. When you're letting it out, it's hard to be poised.
Is that why you don't like Drake?
They're gonna look dopey, you know. That's probably why Drake seems so dopey so often. Is that he's being open, you know. He's being honest. Like, I get that, you know. It's not easy. I just can't imagine, you know. I can't imagine a conversation anywhere near that I would be down to have, like, with cameras on. Like, I wouldn't even, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need, like, it's so, I wonder if they got paid.
I highly doubt it.
I don't know, though.
Come on. You and I both work for.
But I'm just saying, exactly. So how do you devote however long of hours it took for them to do that how do you just do that for free? I don't know. I wonder if they got paid. If they did get paid, that is fucking amazing.
I don't think they got paid.
If you could get paid,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they didn't get paid, and hey, he's not gonna be able to date somebody for the rest of his life. Like, it's over for that kid.
Maybe.
Nah,
you never know.
You do never know.
Humans are unpredictable. You never know, man.
Yo, that'll go down as one of your great quotes. Humans, unpredictable.
They are,
Matthew
man.
Trammell.
It's like I can't say, but you know, that shit happened. Like, that shit really happened, you know? It's like, how can you turn around and watch fucking whatever the tattoo show is, where, you know, everyone is just like, it's all theatrics and it's all acting, when you're like, oh wait, like, they really fucking like broke up live. Like, that's incredible. Like, I don't know. I was like, this works. For where we're at right now, this works extremely well. So shout out to them, man.
Yeah, shout out. They do deserve a shout out, regardless.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Regardless of me hating on it.
No. I mean, you know, I'm sure. But even that, like, any reaction is something. It counts.
I think that the video outside of the social media response, because I watched it first before the memes.
Right.
And my reaction to that was, this is terrible and stupid. But the memes, the memes made it
people,
a perfect thing.
Yeah. People gonna run with that. People, it gives you everything you need. There's drama, two sides, just raw, just mad, like, raw source material to pull from. Right. You know, like, it's just it fit. It's
hilarious.
Yeah, man. And then dude was like, I wasn't counting, and then it was just like, oh my god, you weren't. Like, you had there was. You just come up with any line better than that. I wasn't counting. It's just like, goddamn. Like, fuck. Come on, man.
Have you ever been cheated
on? Probably.
Damn, Trammell.
I can't. Well, I can't think of a time specifically where I'm like, oh, like, in that raw of a way, like how she described. But there was probably like ex-boyfriends that were like too in the realm of our shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? That I probably like didn't fuck with. But I don't know. I mean, for dudes, it's like, that's as, you know, that alone, the scales are so different. Like, this dude is like, yeah, I cheated on you mad times. And like, you came to my room one time and I had another girl and I told you to leave, but like, I still hope we can be friends. Like, you know. Have you gone through the ringer?
I've been cheated on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've never cheated.
Right. That's good.
But I would be too stressed out.
Yeah, man, it's complicated business.
That seems you gotta have a certain like cool factor about you to pull that shit off. I don't have it.
Right. I mean, I don't like. I don't know. I mean, especially now, there's like so many like I'll send the wrong text to the wrong person, and it'll just be a joke, and I'll be like completely like mortified. Right. With absolutely nothing incriminating, just because there's like constantly 3 fucking group chats and like 3 different texts and like a DM thread and like, you know what I mean? There's just mad different lines of communication. So like, slipping up with that at stake, you're just like, God, no, why would you ever, like, how could anyone?
It's stressful.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to do a relationship episode.
That would be soon. Really, really funny.
Folks.
I don't know who, yeah. I don't know.
I got some good folks
That's
in there.
funny. Yeah, like there's no like modern relationship experts. I feel like that was a thing at one point.
Amber Rose kind of models herself as.
She models herself as a lot.
Oh,
But
get it off your chest, Trammell.
But I mean, you know, like actually someone that's like, I guess Jerry tried to do that with the marriage counselor or the marriage doctor. He had some super failed show that didn't work when he was trying to do that. And then couples therapy that Jim Jones and Chrissy did.
I don't know
VH1.
like my
That, like,
television show.
Yeah.
That's a insane blind spot for me.
I just saw I just was hanging out with my brother and he put me onto the he gave me like this ill like Amazon what's it called?
The stick?
Yeah.
Fire stick?
Yeah. Like the sling box where you can get all this different shit. And he's like, yo, like, he's like,
Fire stick sling box? Hey, yo.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's actually mad funny.
We need like
But,
an AO button.
Yeah,
Ayo.
but and he was like so excited that there was like a 2017 version of like illegal cable that he could like extol and like talk about, you know. He's like, oh yeah, like all the movies, like you can get everything, like like, yo, what, you don't have this, what, like let me put like and I was just like, oh yeah, like appreciated. But
yo, the idea of illegal cable is so dope because literally the only person I know that really had illegal cable, they went up, connected an actual cable to the cable line, like climbed the thing and did that. And I'm just like, yo, A, that seems extremely easy to steal. And that's awesome. But B, like, we don't have anything
at all.
That's just as like,
yeah,
you could just go and take like that.
Yeah.
That shit's incredible.
It's just the, like, you know, how at that time, like whatever technology, whatever, it was something that you bought and then you just did whatever the fuck you wanted with it once it was yours.
Right.
So you had like cable or like cable existed and you were like, I have this box. Now I can just fucking do whatever I want. Or I have this VCR. I can do whatever I want with it. Or I have this cassette deck. I can do whatever I want with it. It wasn't like there was no updates. There was no login. There's nothing that tethers you to the person or the company who made it. You know what I mean? Like no subscription or anything like that. Right. I guess if you have cable, a subscription or whatever, but like you could have the box and then be like, all right, I'm taking this box and now I'm going to fuck around with it so that I get everything for fucking free.
Remember,
you know?
satellite?
Yeah. That's the thing. I have friends that had illegal cable and then I would like, and I didn't have cable and then we got satellite and then it was like, okay, I feel like a little bit better about life. But yeah, the fact that was like, it was like, oh yeah, like every home will have a satellite dish on the ceiling. Yeah. And that's how you'll be connected to the world. And somehow all that could do was beam you fucking like 6 versions of MTV. But like the internet was still, you couldn't like watch a video, but you had a satellite on your roof. Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so
like that much hardware for one household.
Just produced so little.
Yeah.
It got so little done. Like, is there anything ill that you could do now with an old satellite dish? Like an old Dish Network satellite dish that has to be of use somehow.
Do a podcast from the moon.
Right. Could you broadcast? Could you set up like a pirate radio station with a satellite dish? I don't know. Maybe we should try that on air.
I'm with it.
I'm down for like some crafts on air. Yeah. Like building things. Like, I'm down for that. Like, what could we like fucking, I don't know. I guess we would need the visuals, but you and I building something sounds like comedy for our audience that they deserve as loyal listeners. Yeah. Like us trying to like.
I feel like this is the Trammell version of Let's Build, fam.
I know. Let's actually build. Let's like physically build something. Yeah, definitely.
Trammell, you want to do the honors?
Yo, guys. We got a pretty awesome guest this week. The homie Shabazz.
Say the government. What's the full name?
I'm not, come on, man. See, I'm not a snitch like you,
and you
bro.
Can say it. I just don't know your last name.
Diane, I don't know your last name.
Yeah, you say it.
Varney?
Yeah, it rhymes with Barney. I used to get teased.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, hell yeah. So Diane Varney, a.k.a. Shabazz. One of the OG or like actually like young G show promoters in New York City. Fucking like way back when I was like cutting my teeth like reviewing random ass concerts at like SOBs and shit. Like we would be like running around and shit, like seeing each other out like in the backyard at A-Life and shit like that. And like she fucking brought a lot of your favorites to New York City first. Migos, fucking Kodak, Trinidad James, which was a crazy one.
Wow,
that, like,
I was there.
Yeah, like a lot of those shows that were just like, oh shit. Like, I think you did the McConan at Westway. That was like crazy.
I'm allowed to talk, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
of course.
You're allowed to talk.
Yeah.
What do you
I'm
think?
like-
This ain't Trump's
Yeah,
podcast?
like humble girl
Yeah,
of great
like-
character, of great, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and like, you know, just, yeah, like real excited to have her on. What's good? What up? How you been? What did you want to say when you were wondering whether you were allowed to talk or not?
No, I was just trying to agree to everybody.
Yeah,
When you said you were there at the Trinidad James show, I'm like, really? Was it
Yo,
Santos?
Yep.
Yo,
Oh, because
okay,
people
so
get it
listen.
mixed up with the Williamsburg one when he said that comment and New York was mad. But I had Santos.
No, Santos.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Mhm.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
right.
I just
Exactly.
remember there being people from every label there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That I thought was it was like people from like Slaughterhouse,
Mhm.
people from Def. It was just like,
So here's the, I
I
mean,
it was like, yo, that dude was rapping for a contract. Like that
this
shit
is-
only
this is what's
happens in New
ill.
York.
Yeah, so this is what's like, this is kind of good, I guess, color commentary for Rick's friend, for the loyal listeners. So there's like, you know, over the past like couple years or so, it's like we all sort of see it where like rappers sort of like seize the conversation, right? Or like seize the zeitgeist or whatever. It's like Designer was a couple months ago. Then Ray Shremmerd was going crazy. Now it's Migos. And like Trinidad James, you could say, was like one of the earlier ones where it kind of went in that pattern or whatever. And like, you know, Shabazz was like one of the folks that like really had relationships in that world and was really like sort of knew those artists in a way where it wasn't like, oh, like I'm just another random person like hitting you up to try to like take advantage of you being on now, you know?
Right.
And so those shows, basically what would happen was like, they would do their like first show in New York and it would basically be like a showcase, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Where like, just exactly like you said, like you have all these kids that are just super hyped because the song that they've been turning up to for the past like 6 weekends, the dude is there. And then it's also like, oh, like Leor Cohen's there for some reason. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like what's going, you know what I mean? And it's so crazy.
But you know what?
you know,
The one thing you said,
but yeah, go ahead.
the difference though, and then I'm interested to hear how you feel about kind of how some people made it, some people haven't. But when you look at somebody like Trinidad, the reason why is different than Migos. So like Migos are having a moment now. You have, 40-year-old white dudes that are like, oh man, Migos, like just because they're having a big moment.
Mhm.
But Migos' career is deeply rooted in Atlanta, and they had hits. They had Magic City hits. Like there was a foundation where I feel like Trinidad, that video came out and he was exposed to the world.
Yeah.
And then it was like all gold everything. And, then he was there. Like there
That is
wasn't
the difference, yeah.
Yeah, there was no like foundation laid, whereas like Ray Shremmerd and Migos had that foundation. But when you look at somebody like Trinidad, I mean, you facilitated this big moment for him.
Yeah.
Are you happy with how things turned out? I know some people probably think, he was a one-hit wonder, but
I
what do you
think it
think?
was a sacrifice for a lot of these Atlanta artists to come
That's a good
through.
way to put it.
Yeah. It's like, because if you think about it, like the Migos are different, but even like McConan at the time, who was making music. See, the only difference with Trinidad is like he was open to say that like, oh, I wasn't making music for long. Like I just started doing it. So a lot of people did take that and run with it. And then you came out with a song like All Gold Everything. In that video, it was so like gimmicky, for lack of better words or whatever.
Like you don't get a Yachty without having Trinidad.
Yeah,
Wow,
because-
wow. This is so good.
Because I feel like, if Trinidad didn't go through all that and, it was so much pressure to follow up with another single or whatever, and that song was so big, it's like, okay, well, it kind of, after that, it was kind of like, okay, well, who cares what the backstory is? We'll get there when it comes to the second, third single or whatever. But like, for the most part, this is a song that's going right now. We're going to ride with it. Because even like, like Lil Yachty, for instance, like he was making music to a little certain degree, but you know, the type of music he makes is not, he still gets attacked, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's like, okay, well, he got a fan base, he just got to accept it, you know, but Trinidad didn't really have that.
Yeah,
you know,
at all.
it was just all the hype. So it was like, okay.
And in hindsight, motherfuckers cannot deny that All Gold Everything was a joint.
That joint.
We would not have the Bruno Mars record without that.
Period.
Right. And I also think that the video was
fire.
super dope.
Amazing.
The
And it's
video
like,
was very dope.
like you remember, like I remember like not knowing shit about it and being in a whip with somebody and they just had the shit on repeat, just in that same, you know what I mean? That's like before people were talking about aux chords, before the whole language around how we talk about that shit happened. It was just like, I don't know anything about this, but this song is just crazy. And you just hear that drop and just hear the way he was like on it and what he was talking about. And like hipster bitches that shop at Lennox and you don't know what he's talking about if you're not from, you know what I mean? And you're like,
you do, you're like,
yeah. So it's like, exactly. It's like that whole thing of just like, hey guys, like it's not just like it's not just T.I. or whatever. It's like there's kids that have like a whole different context of what the South can be.
Yeah.
It can be colorful and weird, just like all these other regions have their weird shit, you know? Which is just crazy.
You know what I thought was cool? A progressive moment in hip hop is when McConan came out. No one seemed to care. I thought that was like a progressive moment. Like,
but I mean,
that should be the reaction.
Said they didn't care, but they were being rude with it. It's like, come on, if you don't know what his personal struggles are. Like,
no, yeah, that was rude.
Yeah,
if you were like, we don't care,
but they weren't making a big deal out of it, like in a bad way. That was good.
It wasn't like oh fuck him because he's whatever. It was like, oh, we been knew you was gay,
and we still rocked with your music. I think McConaughey's dope.
Yeah,
brilliant.
But I feel like they knew he was gay for like the wrong reasons, just because his mannerisms. Like he could have still been straight. He could be bisexual.
Again, like.
That was
fucking like we were there, like fucking basically we were writing about McConan very early at Fader when I was there, and I can say firsthand that the conversations was nothing that had to do with like, oh, is this like a queer rapper? Does this have something to do with like sexuality? It was like, yo, I've never heard anything like this. This dude sounds like Bismarcky meets fucking I don't know what. Like Sarah is one of the best love songs I've just ever heard. No matter what your fucking orientation is, this dude knows how to write love songs and also knows how to write songs about selling dope. And you're just like, this is crazy, you know? So it was definitely wild to see, like, it would have almost been, I didn't expect him to ever say anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that was wild to see too, but it's so, it's dope to have you here because like we said, like there's so much about how not only Southern hip hop right now, but how Southern hip hop moves outside of the South, I think is very important to why like shit sounds the way it does and what we're talking about. So it's not just like, you have somebody like, somebody like Bankroll, R.I.P., or like Pee Wee Longway, or the people that are like, if you're in the South, or Skip It or Flip It, like if you're in the South, then they're really the illest, and people pull from them. But the stuff that makes it outside is like needs another kind of element to it or something. Yeah, kind of like a meme, something meme friendly. Yeah, you know what I mean? Element?
Like,
what is it?
They need like meme friendly. Like I was like Pee Wee Longway, for instance. Like I'd be thinking about people in New York or outside Atlanta that support him. Like it'll be photos of his face because he has like a funny smile or like a big smile rather, just gold teeth, and it's like it got to be like a gimmick to them or something that's meme worthy or something. Like even 21, if 21 did not have that cross on his forehead, like the music he would have took off eventually, but like it's a knife and all that kind of stuff. Like
it's
come on,
a knife.
I mean, definitely, it's true.
It's
definitely.
A podcast. It's an Avion tequila. That is a funny meme. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's really good.
The Ray Shrimmer kids, they wouldn't have had the #1 song if it weren't for the mannequin challenge.
I mean, that's weird with them too, because No Flex Zone was just a joint.
Yeah.
Oh, they got joints
like that. You know?
And No Type. I feel like one of those records were #1 or something.
It didn't.
Didn't it? Okay.
Their first clearly. It's a lot harder to get a #1 than people make it seem. Yeah. Which is why it's insane. Designer has one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, within this window that we're talking about, it changed from hard copies to digital copies to streams.
Right.
Like when Trinidad James came out, you weren't getting platinum off of streams.
Right.
That wasn't
That's a
counted
good
that
point.
way. So it's like the whole, you know what I mean? It's just so much has shifted in this weird window. Shabazz, like for those that don't know, how did you kind of get your start in this? Like what's your background and what made you want to like work in music in this way?
So I attended NCCU, North Carolina Central University, and I remember I wanted to go to A&T, but I went to Central ultimately because they accepted me. And I remember hearing that they had a hip hop class that Knife Wonder and Kid from Kid and Play taught, and I'm like,
crazy.
oh yeah. And I came in spring semester, but I came in 08 of spring, and then or spring of 08. And that fall semester, I remember there was like talk about like Lupe walking around because there was a studio on campus. So Knife would record with everybody, and
That's sick.
it'll be Knife from Little Brother, but I don't think anybody, I don't know. But yeah, Knife Wonder, the producer. And
I hope motherfuckers know who Ninth Wonder is.
yeah, 'cause I was like, I'm like,
They don't know who we are and not know who Ninth
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
pray to
come on.
God, like you did Threats, Jay-Z, come on, guys.
yeah, I'm
but
like,
yeah, go ahead.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they had that class, and of course, you know, there was a whole lot of hip hop heads in that class. I took it.
That's
used
crazy.
to stand up and stand out and everything, you know, hip hop history. And then I remember there was some type of, what do you call it? I don't know, like all hip hop came to our school. It was like a lot of other different people that are in the industry or whatever, but I got an internship with them or whatever. I was working remote and then used those writing clips to, I was initially in the media game, so I wanted to be a writer.
Shout out.
Yeah, I wanted to be a writer, so I was interning for them, and I used those clips to get something at Vibe. Shout out to Mikey, because he didn't even know me, even though I'm here in New York now.
Hell
but
yeah,
I was
Mikey
just
Fresh.
a little sophomore or something, and I emailed him like, yo, let me write for Vibe, and he gave me a chance. That went on to MTV UK, had a series, Verbal Intercourse. You remember that 40
Hell
people
yeah, hell
interview?
yeah, hell
And
yeah,
that's
hell
kind of
yeah,
like, yo,
hell
Trammell,
yeah, hell yeah.
yo, you already know.
Hell yeah.
And then, long story short, I think for me doing underground PR, for like a lot of underground artists, I got a lot of contacts, and Twitter had just started around like 08, 09, and it was like, yo, it's easy to find a person from Billboard. It's easy to find the person from Two Dope Boys or all the other blogs that mattered. I got their contacts, and then I started doing PR for underground people. And from there, I kind of got away from writing, and then I moved to New York in 2011 and interned for Cornerstone Fader. Ended up being like a standout intern, toot beat beat, because I used to work their VIP doors and everything like that. Like you had to know me if you wanted to just try to sneak in or something, you know, capacity doors. And then from there, between working the doors for them and me being out and about in the LES downtown scene in New York, it kind of just, you know, I had the best of both worlds, the industry side and the industry side. And then I started doing events, Trinidad James, which initially before that event, I had a CMJ show. And I remember I had SZA on there. Who else? The Underachievers, 2-9, a lot of people. This was 2012, I think. And that show got shut down. It was a complete shit show. And from there, that's why I was like, yo, Trinidad, you saw how that was. He couldn't even enter that party. And it was the week that All Gold Everything video came out. So it was crazy hype. I'm like, yo, you couldn't even get in. Let's do it again. You see my potential. And then that's how I got his debut show. Coach K, I forget how Coach K found out about me. He got me the Migos, and then he got me OG Mako, and then he got me McConan. And then from there, that was like a year and some change. It's like you had to know Shabazz if you're especially if you're like a Southern artist or whatever.
Right, trying to break.
Because, you know, I have my PR background, and then I have this like real cultural following. So it would be like the best of both worlds. It'll be like the hipster kids that don't really do anything for a living, but they be at all the popping parties. Like to be completely honest, they just look cool. And then you would have your executives like Leora Cohen and booking agencies and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
That's crazy.
Yep, and then that's where I'm at now.
OG Mako owes Trinidad James a check. Because
Why you think so?
Because I just think you get like what we were saying, you get the OG Mako. Like,
you know what's crazy, and it's funny you could say that because I hope like some of those folks hear this podcast because like there was an argument with OG Mako and Uzi on Twitter like last year or so. Mako said Uzi,
like everyone, like
it's that age group.
yeah, I can't say I completely agree with
like,
that.
like not in a bad way, but they had this thing called I remember Father and them used to talk about it. What was it, Survivor Atlanta?
Yeah.
Like where it was just like
real.
constant turmoil between like different factions in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It was just so like Watching from afar is very entertaining. I will say to y'all. Shout out to y'all.
With Trinidad, I feel like Trinidad, he was on Think It's a Game, which is the same management and the label as Rich Homie Quan. So it would have I would say, they have a more traditional Atlanta urban street sense to the thing. But because Trinidad had that fashion sense, he definitely opened doors for these hipster artists in Atlanta too. Like the McConans and all that. Right. And even OG Maco, because, Migos, hipsters love them, but they
but
are
it's
hood
different.
as fuck.
It's
different. Not even street artists, but you know what I mean.
They're really
But Trinidad didn't come out, it wouldn't even have any of these people. But I don't know. So, but to say he owes Trinidad a check, that'll be very interesting, or whatever, or credit, whatever you said. Yeah. He owes him his dues. That'll be interesting to discuss because, of course, him and Uzi were just going at it.
Right, and that's multiple degrees.
Yeah.
It's so wild, yo. Yeah. That's so crazy. Even, OG Mako, even that joint. I remember, when it, he was around before that joint took off.
Yeah.
Before you guessed it,
yeah.
But I'm saying the rapping style, Trinidad James was very unorthodox.
Yeah, but he was way more smooth with it. He was on some Jerome from the
exactly.
Or not Jerome. What's his name? Player from the Himalaya. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jerome. Yeah, right. Yeah. Fucking OG Mako was trying to be or at least trying to position himself on some punk shit almost. Yep. You know what I mean? I scream and I whatever. And this is right. So
you
guessed it wasn't even
the record he wanted to break with. He wanted to break with. Well, I don't know what he wanted to break with, but he actually could rap. Mm-hmm. So he got. I don't.
Right, and that was also. That's another thing. That's it's interesting to talk to you as someone that I know you talk to a lot of these dudes. A lot of some of these dudes can rap in the way that people say, oh, if you can't rap like this, then you can't rap. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? One of the first things that I was going hard for Made in Tokyo, when I really started fucking with him, when I first heard his shit, is that I could just tell by what he was saying, even though the way that he was saying it was in a more slow, kind of bouncy, hook flow. He could, if you put on a fucking beat from volume 1 and you were spit 16 bars, he could rap just like that.
Right.
But he just doesn't. And I think that's a difference that people don't really get at.
I like that you point that out.
Yeah, some of these dudes rap like that on purpose because they either they want to or they think it's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they know that's what the youth and people want.
Right.
There's so many people, and it's kind of annoying. I'm actually really proud of Tokyo. I met him some years ago as Malcolm, and he was with Nitty Scott at PNC Radio.
Word.
2012. I knew he was an artist, but I forget what it was. He was just releasing songs here and there. But he's another one that can rap and just plays the game right now. Mm-hmm. And I like the way he's playing the game because I love, he's one of my top 3.
Because the songs are still dope. It's you can just tell he's still saying ill shit. It's just in the sound. That's what's on the palette right now. You know what I mean? Which is wild. Yeah. But so I guess what, as somebody who, not only came up, whatever, and it's just it's so bugged out to think that before all of this, you were in the South learning from a dude like Ninth Wonder, who was the producer for Lil Brother, who is arguably the most cherished backpacker dudes.
Right,
you know what I mean? The whole shit was reversed. I remember when news of that class came out, and it was around the same time I think I was applying to NYU at that time to try to go to the Clive Davis School, and just so the idea of music industry shit in undergrad programs was people are really doing it now. You know what I mean? So what was going on then? What were those classes like? What, you know what I mean?
They were really tight. We would do stuff about samples, of course, going through the different eras. And, he didn't bring anybody as a guest while I was and you know what's funny? I actually failed. It was so funny. I got an F one semester and I got an A the other one. And it was still, last assignment. Of course, nobody took it serious, but it was what? But I took it over again. And of course, I'm okay, wow, from an F to an A. I'll be glad to say that. I didn't really care for school like that. But I mean, I love that class.
Yeah, man, it takes, people get to it how they get to it.
Yeah, but it was just, it was really cool. He didn't bring anybody cool during, my semesters there, but it was really cool because, my first client was, an artist. Well, it was a group that was signed to him. They're no longer together, but their name was N1 Platoon. And they were actually onto Dope Boys back in like 08, 07, 08 or whatever. And I'm like, oh shoot. So y'all already got something going on or whatever. But it really taught me a lot. And everybody would be surprised to know that like during that time, during my college days, I was not really trapped out. Like the trapped out Shabazz is from Charlotte, North Carolina. Like that's my high school days. When I was in school, I really was on my boom bap shit. Like it would really, I listened to nothing but reggae, like roots and dub reggae and like old school, A Tribe Called Quest and everything. Like Butter would get played. Like it would come on all the time on my iPod.
But talk more about Trapped Out high school.
Yeah.
What was going on then?
So originally I'm from Orange County, California. I was born out there and I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina when I was 10.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Vance.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Charlotte really shaped me. And that's like, I remember the summer I came to Charlotte, I remember like Wobble and Shake It came out by the 504 Boys. It was so many Southern songs.
If y'all could have seen Mark Anthony's face just now, he just had 12 flashbacks.
Dog, I remember how many amazing moments. The song is like 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yes.
And some of my best 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
And Rock the Boat by Master P. Like all them
Jesus
songs was running
Christ.
like Rap City and like, all the little music BET shows. So I really had to like, it was like what's the word I'm looking for? It was weird because I like.
It was a golden era. It was.
Because I grew up around, in California, I grew up around nothing but like Asians and Mexicans, like literally Mexicans. There was not that many black folks. Like I'm not, it's not like LA or whatever. So it was kind of a culture shock. That's what I was gonna say. It was like a culture shock a little bit because the only black kids that I knew in California were like actually African. Like my parents are Liberian, so first generation Liberian American, and they'll be my cousins or whatever. So, but I didn't really know.
Then you go into the heart and soul.
Yeah, I didn't really know
like,
black Americans like that. Like I got teased for talking proper and everything like that. Like that's why my accent goes all over the place sometimes. But it was really cool. Charlotte really shaped me, and then I'm actually responsible for putting on a lot of my friends to Gucci Man or whatever.
Shout out to Gucci.
What mixtape was it? Damn, I can't even remember. It was some Trapaholics.
What do you think about Gucci's the new Gucci?
I love it. We need that. We need that. And like, one thing that I loved aside from his like whole like fitness turnover, he posted a photo with some hip hop legend. I remember tweeting about it. I can't remember. He saw somebody. It was like, it wasn't Chuck D. It was somebody like that, like a pioneer. And it was like, it was good. Like he posted it on Instagram and we needed it. And I remember I tweeted the screenshot and it got some retweets or whatever. I'm like, yo, good, because I know we're probably gonna get there, but like this new millennial era of rappers, and I cannot stand the disrespect or none of that. Like it's not cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and like so I love it. Like even that, I don't care if it was. I don't care.
It's interesting that you
Don't
find it as disrespect.
Oh yeah.
When Lil Yachty says, "I don't listen to B.I.G."
Oh yeah.
I don't.
That shit is just weird, bro.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like what you're talking about, and I feel like for anyone our age, it's like we went back and listened to shit and was like, oh, this album is dope. This album I don't really. Oh, Daylight, that's okay.
We're
like
not that much older than them.
You feel what I'm saying?
We're
and it's
still
like
all in our 20s.
it's just a part of what you did. You're like, let me go listen to some old shit and see what I think of it at least.
Right.
You right?
But I think that
and then they just
I
and then
disagree
it just got
with y'all
weird.
a little bit. The reason why I disagree a little
but
bit.
But you love Outkast, right?
I love Outkast, but I lived during Outkast time.
Yeah, but you lived during like Miss Jackson.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't live. You were like
Southern Pain.
I lived through that too.
But you get what I'm saying?
I understand.
It's
like
we
Tribe
were
Called Quest.
alive.
You could be unaware without being disrespectful.
Yeah, then you come.
But all I'm saying is that
Okay.
what these kids are saying, and I do think that this has to have some validity. Shabazz is shaking her head at me. Hold on, let me get it out. Bass.
Like
You're Lil Yachty, right? You're what is the kid? 19? What the fuck is Lil Yachty, right? He says, I lived through Drake era. Drake meant everything to me. I personally, I think Q-Tip is a genius. I thought the new Tribe record was great. I think old Tribe records are great. But when I talk about like hip hop and groups, I think of Outkast. I wouldn't even compare the two. I think that Andre 3000 is so much better than any, and I think that's just because of how I was born. I know I have some OGs, and they're like, how could you even say that? That's ludicrous. Tribe is everything.
No pun intended.
Yeah, but
we know Bob Marley, right?
Everybody knows. But Bob Marley's.
We
know all the legends.
But no.
Thank you.
But that's
know the music.
But okay.
It's a reach.
But
it's a reach.
It's all the kid is trying to say, and we never fault him for being ineloquent other times. All he's trying to say is that this don't mean nothing to me.
It's less,
and I think that that's fair.
It's less about one dude specifically and more about a generational thing, which is just to say, if we were thinking in high school, right? If you're class of 08 and you're looking at class of 2011 or some shit, you know? And you're like, oh, what's the differences between the senior class and the freshman class? Oh, the freshmen are so weird. They be da-da-da-da-da, right? I'm just like, it's weird to me that, like, just exactly as you put it, it's almost a part of, like, getting older and becoming, like, a teenager into your late teens and fucking coming of age and trying to see what dope movies used to be out or whatever used to be out. And you, like, go back to listen to shit just to satisfy your own curiosity about what, like, adolescence and young adulthood
But he's
is.
listened to it.
Again,
he just
but this
doesn't
is what,
like it.
No. First of all, again, I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about his fans too. I'm talking about generation wide. And two, he literally did say like, oh, I didn't listen to that. So my only thing is now, especially when, if I want to get into like, if I want to listen to a fucking, like Alanis Morissette, if I want to listen to like the Velvet Underground, if I want to listen to some shit that if it was 1998 and I went to a record store and they didn't have it, I couldn't listen to it. Now you can literally listen to everything.
I understand what you're saying.
How could you possibly not want to?
Because,
you know what I mean?
But you're a music nerd. You're kind of like, it's totally different for you. These kids are
than
reacting.
a rapper? Than someone who makes music?
No.
I'm
I'm talking about the generation. I'm talking about the kids you're talking about.
They don't have to go about it.
Talk Shabazz. You the guest.
No,
Go ahead.
you know what? I wish
Say your shit.
I wish Ray Shermer. So apparently, you know, they're not as young as people thought they were.
They are not as young.
And I
as
wish
people
they
thought.
were
They're
so
like,
much.
They are basically Trammell's age.
Because when you throw on a beat, they will freestyle. They will give you the bars. It don't matter what cadence of flow it is. You know what I'm saying? They don't like even Uzi. Like I love all these artists. You know, I've done their shows or whatever. But it's like, yo, come on now. Like you need to know how to rap over a primo beat. Like come on, like or premiere beat, whatever. You know, come on.
Right.
Like you got be versatile or whatever, or figure out how to use your flow over that. Like just don't be disrespectful. And then there was a
why?
Because I mean, and then you know what's funny? Yachty did a big piece with MTV recently, and was like, "Oh, rock doesn't do this. Like you don't see Paramore and like Fall Out Boy or whoever he mentioned doing this to the greats." I'm like,
Paramore and Fall Out Boy.
Go ahead.
They were basically saying like you don't see the young, you know, the
being
little
like this isn't whatever enough.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I'm pretty sure if I was really into that, I'm pretty sure they like pay mad homage.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying?
If you're trying to be like, oh, I'm punk, and you're like, oh, what? Like you don't know XYZ, or you're like, oh yeah, like I'm fucking whatever. It's like, oh, okay, word. Like who are the Pixies? Who are the Raincoats? Who are Talking Heads? You don't know about that shit? Why are you speaking right now? Like, you know what I mean? You, especially like now where it's like motherfuckers wearing shirts of bands. So it's like, you can't attack for that. It's almost like, it's a cop out.
But he knows what he's claiming to be, which is a rapper from Atlanta. If you ask him about Outkast, he has real things to say. People asked him about Biggie. They asked his fans about Biggie, and they don't know. He don't know, and he don't care. I personally think that's kind of nothing wrong with that.
But you have to know, like, even me, like, I have
if Young
siblings.
M.A. said, yo, I don't know shit about Outkast, I'd be like, cool. That's fine.
But
you're wrong. Andre's my favorite rapper of all time.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that slithery ass point. I'll give you that.
It's not slithery. I'm just saying, like, these kids don't have to care. Like, I think the people, it breaks my heart.
But I'll give you that.
It breaks my heart for someone to say, I don't listen to Outkast. I don't care about Outkast. But that's kind of okay.
But I'm pretty sure they respect them though. I don't think
But Lil Yachty, Lil
let somebody
Uzi,
from Atlanta.
I don't respect.
Let somebody from Atlanta come out and be like, "Yo, Andre, I don't know, fuck, like I don't like Andre like that."
You mean somebody from New York?
Nah, I'm saying my point is what you're talking about. You were saying like, oh, it would be heartbreaking if someone didn't fuck with Outkast.
Right.
When it's like when it's presented as like a I don't know. I don't see this age thing as like, oh yeah, well it's fine because it's just like whatever. Like you're young, so it just doesn't matter because that was never an excuse.
Give me a 20-year gap or something.
Yeah, like it's not like that shit is.
But you don't gotta know it front to back. But just be respectful.
But what are you talking about? Okay, how many years ago did Big die?
but I'm saying like
I'm saying it's
Mag is so reaching, so crazy.
I'm not. I'm just saying. Think about this kid. Think about this kid. Big hasn't rapped in 20 years. R.I.P. He's a legend. He's
but they're classic songs. Like you be at parties, you go through your
and he's
New York
heard
set.
those.
Even in down south in Charlotte, we still got the little New York set. You still gonna hear Juicy.
And those
thing.
didn't
Keep going.
Okay, but none of those meant anything to him.
But it doesn't have to mean anything. It's like okay, I was
why does he have to? Why does he
doesn't have to? He doesn't have to care. He doesn't have to act like he's a fan. He doesn't got to know the songs front to back. But we celebrate this man's birthday. Same with Tupac. Tupac and Big.
Yeah.
We celebrate their birthday and their death. There's always a thing on Twitter and social media. This, just like Bob Marley and all the other whoever. Respect it.
Bob Marley's a good ass point.
Okay, how about Bob Marley's a terrible point? Bob Marley took a bullet for his people.
Okay, no,
Bob
I don't
Marley,
care how he
you
died,
cannot
though.
compare. No.
You reaching super hard because we're talking about music and awareness.
No.
of music.
Okay, what I'm saying is Bob Marley should be celebrated the same way Muhammad Ali is celebrated, which is, yes, he did a primary thing, which Muhammad Ali would be boxing, Bob Marley would be music, but why they are so important is so much bigger than that.
Of course.
Okay, so what I'm saying,
But
let's
pop
not.
culture-wise.
You can't. But what I'm saying is that plays into it. You could compare Biggie to Pac. You could compare
this
him.
dude is just slithery. You see how
it's
he
not
just
slithery. No, I have
see how
facts.
he would just
You have alternative facts. You can't
He said
compare
alternative facts.
You have
That's the first
alternative
time.
facts.
I'm like,
Listen. All I'm
Legend.
saying is that you can't compare Biggie to motherfucking Bob Marley. You cannot.
Not music-wise, but essence-wise and legendary-wise, yes.
I don't. What I'm saying is,
if I'm coming to hip-hop, like even back,
okay. What if a 17-year-old looks at you tomorrow and is like, "Yo, Bob Marley don't matter to me. I don't like that. Don't matter to me." Then like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where's the
How would you react to
scale?
that?
How do you say
I would say, have you listened to Bob Marley? If they're like,
no.
And I was, okay, listen, first of all.
they're gonna be like, no.
Okay, if they're like, no, that's fine. But again, what I'm saying is using Bob Marley is bad to me because what I would say is Bob Marley was bigger than music. No disrespect to Big, and I live in Brooklyn. And Big Notorious B.I.G. didn't do shit but rap and make good songs.
But even
you can't compare him to Tupac is better. Fine. Okay.
He didn't know
if
much about
somebody
Tupac
says
either.
that if 17-year-old says I don't give a fuck about Tupac, or they say I don't give a fuck about Big, I say cool. I understand that. How you doing? How's your day?
It's cool. They just
that doesn't offend me at all.
You know what I'm saying? It's like y'all are in hip hop at the end of the day, and I'm not for everybody wanting to be. I don't care. Yeah, black folks created rock. Okay, whatever. Hip hop is ours right now. Just be freaking respectful.
Okay, let me just say one last thing, and then I'm gonna
y'all
let this
rapping.
go.
If you
because I don't want. I think Shabazz will fight me, and I'm not trying to get beat up in the studio.
No.
I'm so glad she's here. So
I know exactly. As someone who interviews people for a living, and so often I spend the majority of my time trying to get them to break through this rehearsed set of answers that are staged and not real. You try to get a real conversation with somebody. Trammell and I do that every single day, right?
Yeah, I do it well.
Thank you.
Why, thank you.
Why, thank you.
It's about time. No.
Wouldn't you rather that kid
I got the perfect answer for
say
this.
how he truly feels? And if he had said, fuck Biggie, whatever, none of them have ever said that. Now, the fans are going to be extreme, whatever. 21, Uzi, all of them have been asked since Yachty said what he said, and none of them have ever said something that was disrespectful. They just don't care. They're just not fans.
I don't agree with the way Uzi reacted on Hot 97. Would that be?
You know what the answer to that
what did he
question
say?
is?
What did he say?
I don't want to get too much off topic.
You know the answer to that question is, and then we'll switch gears.
Yeah.
I think that answer is the exact opposite of that truth that you and I and anybody else asking a question is trying to get at. I think that that's like from which we've gotten into on Rich Friend before. I think that's just from the school of media provocation and from the school of like, I know if I say this,
right.
I know when Lil B is like, I'm a pretty bitch, it's just going to fuck people's heads up and they're going to talk about it. And he goes on ESPN in earrings and a dress and it's going to fuck people up and they're going to talk about it. And that's why Lil B is the fucking god of this. And that's why we all have to salute him. And when Trinidad James has a fucking puppy in his hand, he knows people are going to talk about it. And when Lil Yachty has red hair and when he says fuck Biggie, he knows people are going to talk. That's what I'm saying is that
but he
it's
never
not,
said fuck
this
Biggie.
is, but my
he doesn't
point
like
is,
him. He doesn't listen to him.
Okay, perfect. My point still is that provocation only carries so much weight. And then after a certain point, it's just like, all right, like, people that know can see through it. And it's like, when it's people like her that are like, before you was even around, I was here, like, figuring out who was going to play where, when. You know what I mean? It's
okay,
like,
let me ask you a question.
You know,
let me ask you a question.
But that was your last question on that subject because we got to switch gears.
Man, this is my motherfucking podcast.
We only got the homie here for so long. Shabazz, thank you again. Shout out to Tequila Avion.
Yes.
Now,
got me feeling good.
So also,
shoulders.
I mean, so we wanted to bring you on here for not the only reason, but recently you also ran a story on Electric Circus, which is your site that you now kind of doing a bit more editorial stuff on. And you wrote about another side of what we talk about a lot when we talk about this space, which is how gender and sexism and these kind of things play out when we talk about a lot of the people that are involved in it. And this isn't exclusive to music. This gets into like style and shit as well. But basically, you talked about like, you know, people like 21 and like Ian Connor and like different folks that have had sort of like controversies or things around them where like their behavior has been like questionable when in regards to women and like haven't really sort of suffered any backlash in the way that you kind of see that happen in other instances. And you didn't write it, if I'm not mistaken, but just speak about that a bit.
Yeah, shout out to Brooklyn White because she did a phenomenal job on that article. But that she was spending the night at my house and we ran across that 21 Savage tweet, and I'm like, yo.
So what did it say?
And the tweet says something about, basically, he was saying something in the terms of like how he deserves for a female to fuck him. Or whatever, and honestly,
it was a dumb thing.
Yeah, and then what killed me, I mean, I guess this was like a day later, but then I don't think Key saw that article. She's gonna probably want to kick my ass when she does sees it, because I try to send it to her to see it beforehand, like a week before. That night I sent it to you, Trammell, before, like a week before I even published it. But I had to insert her tweets because she tried to defend it, and you know, she's a female. You know,
who is this?
This is 21 Savage, and the manager is Key.
His manager, Key.
And I can't remember verbatim, but she definitely tried to defend it. Like, oh, it didn't sound that bad when he said it out loud in the car. But it's like, yo, okay, but outside of all that, where's the apology or something? Like, this, it's just everybody just tries to go silent and let stuff sweep under the rug. Like, I know 21 probably doesn't really. He's not really rapey. I would hope he's not really rapey. I don't think he's really, that's his whole angle. But like the point is this new millennial, and of course, disclaimer, I know like this attitude towards women has been a thing in hip hop forever. But it's something about now, like at least back then you could be talking about the lyrics, but like if somebody like, and Chris Brown, you know, is a little different. I guess I get it. He's like a mainstream person, but if somebody else would have like beat somebody or got accused of rape, it would have been hell. You know what I'm saying? Right. But now, maybe because the artists aren't that big, like they're big on the internet, but they're not big mainstream wise, it's easier to clean up. But there's no accountability. They are womanizers, even aside from whatever.
Do you think that he actually is? Do you think that you think he actually does those things? Or do
no.
It was a stupid thing.
I honestly don't think 21 Savage does those kind of things, but it was just the point of like, oh, we know this is like a cool bar or a cool lyric in a song or just this mentality. It's cool because, you know, but then the thing is too, aside of whether or not he's about that or not, like his hope, like that's just one example of like a lot of But like the fan base will find a way to defend it. Like nobody, you know, you'll get women or whatever attacking him or whatever, but like somebody was like 21 rapey or whatever. It was so funny. But it just doesn't sound good. Like, where's this apology? Like, oh, you know, I love my ladies. Like, just a slick comment, something, a slick apology, you know? Right. But there's just no accountability. And then when that tweet went up, we were like, yo, why? Like, you know, and then it got deleted, of course, but we were like, yo, why is this is like the last draw. Like, what is going on? And then, you know, I don't even want to, I mean, it was mentioned in the article, but it's really not even to focus more on like who's been accused of like sexual abuse.
The general tone.
It's the general tone, and it's really the fan base, and like even going, not to go too back, but even going back on the hip hop conversation as far as like the new generation, the old generation, and paying respect. They don't do that. Like, they're just like, okay, I'm just too cool. I can do whatever I want. And it's not the case. Like, it's like, I have never seen women be degraded as they are now. Like as far as that scene, like those the youth, like it's cool. And like even with Ian Connor, like I don't even want to get into specifics of like the specifics of like if it's true or not. But it's like, yo, like okay, we know from what I hear, you know, maybe Kanye's not messing with you no more. But Rocky, I think did an interview with Hypebeast or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he was like, you know,
They was all kind of going at it behind that, like, you know, weird, you know, like I feel what you're saying.
Because somebody at least I would just, and it's not saying it's what fixed it, but for me personally, you have some other females that'll go hard and say whatever. All I'm looking for is like, okay, I messed up, or I know it's wrong. Like I don't care if it's a PR writing it. Like is it the fact that everybody agrees?
I feel you on it being
sorry.
like a slick comment, kind of just like I love my ladies or something like that.
Yeah,
Like I feel that, yeah, because
that would
it's still
do a little
you can
difference.
still do it in your voice and in your way and have
Yeah.
it still feel genuine. I
But,
feel what you're saying.
But I think first of all, what we'll do is we'll tweet out the link to the story when this comes out. So if you're listening to this, the link to this piece shall be on Matthew and I's Twitter accounts. So check that out. Cause it sounds like a great piece. But I think what needs to happen, the thing that's missing is like, you know, you're asking for like accountability, accountability. How do you punish somebody for doing that? I don't know of a single endorsement that 21 Savage has. I mean, Ian Connor absolutely seemed to be kind of exiled and punished. I mean,
but do you see how his fan base reacts?
but
and
but you know what though? There will. I'm saying the only thing I'm offering when Rick Ross said the Molly line, Rick Ross lost millions of dollars. Fact. Right? He made an apology. He tried to fix it, and he will never promote something that ugly and heinous again.
Right.
I don't think Rick Ross is a rapist, but I do think he should have been punished to the extent that he was punished. Because it's about what you promote to your friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these kids who would listen to 21 Savage and like believe in it, like if this is like not a hero of yours, but the way I listen to Andre and I'm like, yo, you know, I'm a fan. I believe in not only the way he raps, his talent, but I believe in what he stands for. I believe in all these things. If that's your guy, you disagree with them anyway. Period. You disagree with that kid.
Yeah.
So I would say, and this is just my 2 cents, but especially in Trump's America, don't let that shit get you too down. Because what we see now, the best thing, not the best thing, but what the internet does is it just gives those people, you just find out where everyone stands and where everyone is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting when the way that the context that you put it in of like the generational thing, which is like, it's just so funny being like young and still seeing so much difference between other young people, essentially, which is what we're talking about. Like, I definitely like feel you on the sense of like, maybe there's just like a certain tone or a certain something that's just like kind of different. In like, or like a harshness in a way that's kind of different, you know? It's funny because like, you know, I don't know, like we definitely had like rappers say and do stupid shit. And I know the example that comes up often is Juvenile and like Back That Ass Up and like that song. And it's like, that song is actually like it's really funny every time I see it because you'll see women be like, that song is actually extremely empowering. Like that song is him being like, girl, you look good. Would you mind? Like,
girl, you got that,
you know what I mean?
shit.
Yeah. So it's like that was sort of like the root of that, like, you know, like allowing yourself to be like, objectification isn't necessarily one way.
Nelly's
you know what
a
I
good
mean?
example.
Like,
the tip drill.
Right.
Those are good.
But maybe just because like, I don't know, it's like if you're relevant now, or if you're sort of like someone that people are following or talking about, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to break through certain community standards of certain platforms. So it's like Nelly, we would have never known that video existed if BET Uncut didn't exist, because it wouldn't have been on anything else, and there was no internet for it to be on. You feel what I'm saying? Like you couldn't stream a video on the internet because the internet was too slow. Right. So now there's no barrier to entry for that kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's really just all there. And if you never had anything else but that, if you never knew anything but the stream going this fast, then you don't really have a sense of where there's a line or where you know what I mean? Like, but even you don't have that sense of this is PG-13 and this is NC-17.
Yeah.
if everything's just been NC-17 your whole life of looking at shit. You know what I mean? Like, which is bugged.
Which
even to think about,
and Trammell's not defending what they're saying.
I'm trying to understand it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I fucking,
He's
you know what I
trying to
mean?
understand.
Yeah, I'm
Because
trying to
I'll
understand
hear,
it too.
because I fucking, you know, I have zero, like, I don't know. I'm not, like, in any way, like, conservative or anything like that. Not saying in a political way, but just in general life about what people do. People do whatever they want. But, like, the fact that Bad and Bougie, just the first lyrics are literally, like, fucking on your big shit, ... And I'm like, it's still just going and no one is, like,
But you
not
know what,
saying
though?
for my personal taste. I'm just saying, wow, that's crazy that, like, mainstream is just, there's no censor bar on mainstream anymore, basically.
But
you know?
But it's so much easier. I agree with everything you just said, and I think the difference is, or the important thing to like the line to draw is when 21 Savage is on his Twitter and on his Snapchat and he's talking about shooting motherfuckers up and all, like, that misses me completely. And that's what was egregious. When those kids rap, not all of them, obviously, but like when Migos rap, I'm like, yep, like that's a different thing. That is bringing whatever that is, but it's they're on a playing field that, like, okay, I can get behind that.
Here's a
like I fuck with that, but
oh, go ahead.
Just that to me is the difference. Now that other stuff really matters.
Here's a question,
You know?
like a kind of annoying question for Shabazz, but like, as you know, you're like a young woman that's like working in the space, right? So outside of just like fandom or whatever, like what passes and what doesn't, what gets bleeped and what doesn't, basically in a theoretical sense, does that tone or whatever like make your work weirder or harder, or like, you know what I mean? How does that affect how you move within the space?
I think,
you know,
like, I'm 27 now, and I think it affects me a little bit because, like, when I've been doing the players ball, like, I've noticed that, like, of course, it's definitely like male centric. You know,
Right.
you have your little trap, not just trap, but you know, you have your little girls that come out, whatever, because they like the music. But like,
What's the Players Ball?
the players ball is the series that I did, the Migos and all their.
it's like the name of the show.
Yeah, it's the name of the show, and so, you know, I've noticed that, like, you know, I also used to work for Saint Haran, so, and I just have all these different elements of me or whatever. Like, you know, I have a lot of girlfriends and I'm like, okay, well, this is a brass show that I know some of my older friends won't necessarily come to, my older female friends. So when I started, you know, paying attention, I'm like, you know, I don't want to look like I'm co-signing this, you know, or that's why I'm like, when I have this platform, I got to show that, you know, like, hey, you know, yeah, I am doing this for the culture.
Right.
Or whatever, but it's like,
and for your business.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's like, it is a business, but it's like, just know that I don't personally, you know, back this shit.
Is there an artist that you will not work with because it's just too far across the line?
I was supposed to do Famous Dex Players Ball, or his first show. We were trying to arrange that, but it was shortly. It was going to be around the time that he was caught on footage beating his girlfriend back.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, Famous Dex. And you know what? Even not even but yeah, I've promoted a show with him on it before. It was like a whole like concert for 300, but I was so like, I can't do it right away, especially like a solo Players Ball, because I didn't want to get attacked. And nobody attacked me for even having his name in my email subject line, like, thank God. But even going back to you saying something about Rick Ross, I think the difference is because, you know, they're underground. Like, you don't know who Famous Dex is.
Right.
But
There's no way to punish him.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is, I mean, I think he had a Puma thing in the works.
Right.
And the guy,
so then he's not that underground. I'm saying, like, that is how people get punished.
Yeah. But it's really crazy about this whole millennial, like the consumers, you know? It's like, it's like, yo, like, okay, the artists, even if
it's like brands have to do that, because of course they have to do that.
Yeah,
as the kid that's the fan, you make the choice.
Right.
Of like, oh, I don't care. Like, I still like da-da-da-da-da versus, you know, and it's just like, I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is like seeing how the choice gets made.
And I tried to separate like the rapey and the rapey and the abuse stuff away from like just, you know, misogynist comments and stuff. And like,
why do you do that? I think that's interesting.
Because I try to, but it's really hard because, you know, a lot of these lyrics, these kids are just saying this to be cool. to be honest with you. And like,
Right.
that's
that
one
doesn't
thing.
offend
I am not like I'm not a feminist. Like I like girl power or whatever, but I'm not as hard going as some of my peers are, you know? Like they would never stand for some of this stuff. But like, cause even going back to Famous Dex, so if you saw that footage, if you read when you see the article, you get to see the footage.
Yeah.
But like, you had another rapper named Ugly God to try to come to his defense on why he possibly beat the girl.
Nah.
Yeah, he was like, he
right.
pissed her
It's
off.
crazy,
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, it's like, it's one thing about the artist, like, you know, you're in the forefront, you know, maybe I want them to have a little bit of accountability, but they need to have the accountability because they don't understand how they're influencing their crowd. Like, Ian, like, okay, again, with Ian Connors, like, people, whether or not he's guilty or not, like, do you think it's wrong? Like, you have people talking about the girls. Like, this and that. I don't care if I don't put it past that some of these girls lied about it. Like, I'll be the female to say that. Like, I wouldn't, you know, I've heard stories. I'm not surprised if Ian finessed some girls to get in that situation, but maybe there is some girls that hated him and just lied. And then it was like a Bill Cosby situation with just names coming or whatever. But you know, something happened. It was inappropriate. Who's going to just take responsibility and say you're sorry? At least I don't think I ever seen Ian say he was sorry for nothing because he ain't admitting to it. But it's like, come on. That's it. Like, because Rick Ross went through it and that was perfect. Like, he did go through it and he was apologizing and everything. Same thing with Chris Brown, but again, it's mainstream. So
Yeah.
Do you think somebody like Ian, I mean, part of the thing that I don't think these like kids have, and a lot of these people we're talking about, not that makes any excuses at all. And I don't know how old like Famous Dex is, whatever the fuck his name is, but like I don't know, I'm not picturing anyone because I've never heard of him. But a lot of what
you can picture it. Some skinny dreads. Okay.
Yeah,
it ain't that rapper starter kid. Yeah, the starter kid. Yeah. But it feels like they don't know. And I know we got to wrap up soon, but it just seems like they don't know how to. They don't have somebody that's like, hey, okay, you can't say this, you can't do this.
That's the thing too.
And this is what.
Virgil, Virgil, not to cut you off, Virgil supported something recent of Ian, and I saw Nikki retweeted and was like, yo, when are you gonna like, y'all still supporting this, whatever?
You also don't know what people talk about.
Wait, Jutnik?
Offline.
Yeah, Jutnik,
That's my G.
But you also don't know what people talk about offline. So that's always the thing, is that if sometimes it feels like the digital world is the real world, but you never know how many conversations side to side.
I'm sure
before, when or how
I'm
that
sure
motherfuckers were like,
and them
yo,
have
man,
set him down and
XYZ, blah, 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 blah. So you never know
That's
that.
true.
You never know that. But not to take any credence away from your point, because it also is whatever you endorse, you have to stand by in all its forms in public.
Yeah.
You know? So, but you never know how those conversations play out. It's really, it's wild. And it's like,
that's tough.
I give you like mad props for even like, and that article went crazy. So many, like, you know what I mean? Like, people were definitely like, yeah, like somebody brought this up because it's definitely a real thing that people see or whatever, Before you dip, I feel like, we obviously have like a lot of different folks on the show or whatever, and like different, like, people that listen, like, maybe are like interested in the world, interested in space and shit. Like, for you, like, having done events in the way that you have, obviously your story just sort of coming up like as a kid, you know what I mean? Like, what's like something that you've learned about like doing events or doing the stuff that you do that you could not have anticipated going into it, Like, what's something that you got out of the experience?
That's a great question. Well, on like the production side, I'm learning how to utilize a staff and knowing that I can't do everything together, but also curation. Like, I'm good at curating events for specific events, but like, again, even back to like being known for these little trap Southern artists or whatever, but really knowing that I am like a hip hop head, I am a music head or whatever. So just kind of trying to broaden it up, learning how to like make something for everybody. You're going to see a lot of that this year. I'm really happy that I got to do an all-female Bad and Bougie party for the Migos. Cause you know what I'm saying?
Crazy. I saw that shit everywhere.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, well look, instead of just having them perform in like, up and down type club, let's actually get some like real industry women in there for them. And even for my anniversary party, the Glowisha party, like, really like paying attention to details or whatever, like just stepping it up. Like, there's a lot of people coming up under me, that are trying to do events, just little residencies and parties. But it's like, I really want to, be the one you holler at when you want a certain crowd there and like a certain element. So
I mean, an all-female bad and bougie party is so just.
Can you throw us one of
ill.
those?
oh
Yeah, right.
what's
Can we
up?
do an all?
Like, that's
Just for
just
y'all.
ill. Like that's just dope.
Yo, hosted by Mag. He'll handle all
Yeah,
that.
let's do
Nah,
it.
you handle all that. I can't- I
I'll
can't
write.
handle
I'll
none
write
of
the
that.
email. I'll write the
Mhm.
email all like invite. And then,
Actually,
yeah.
don't throw us. that one.
Oh, you gonna go crazy?
Nope.
Yo,
No, I'm
Y'all-
not.
y'all single?
Nah, I'm
yo,
not.
Okay,
yo,
there
guys,
we go.
Shabazz, yo, thank you so much for joining us. This was so awesome, man. You are a
No, thank you
fucking
for having me.
stand-up gal, man, and yeah, much props for all the shit that you've done, and we're looking forward to see what you do next.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
Word.
Peace.
All right, guys,
Bye,
see you next
everybody.
week.
Rich Friend, the Elevated Conversation is a Loudspeakers Network production. Our producer is Matt Raz. Our editor is Tim Einenkel. Our executive producer is Chris Morrow. The views, opinions, and hilarious jokes expressed on this podcast are solely those of the host and guests featured on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Tequila Avion and its affiliates. Please don't sue us. Please drink responsibly.